Alright. Ignore the mad title that I put for this one, simply just because maybe I couldn't think of a better title, or just intuitively I've kind of always been counterculture, and I'm kind of getting pissed off at this culture of like, yeah, have the most extravagant title, or the most like, yeah, I just get pissed off when people say stuff in the video like, I have a secret to tell you or some shit, and then you click on it and then it's like, yeah, if you want to watch my stuff, just watch it, because hopefully, I mean, if you don't watch it, like, yeah, it's not that deep ultimately. No shade to anyone that's doing that, by the way, that's just my preference, or maybe I couldn't both think of a title, but yeah, I want to talk about family, the concept of family, and not because my wife is pregnant, no, like everyone's gonna jump to that. And anyway, if my wife was pregnant, you lot would probably be the last people to know. Shout out to people who did have babies this year though. Shout out to my peoples, Mike and Patricia. Like, yeah, Grace is so beautiful, bruv. Mike is like a typical dad. He's bare funny. Like, I called him one time and he was like, do you mind FaceTiming? And I was like, why you want to FaceTime, bruv? And he's like, oh, Grace wants to say hello. You know, them parents just want to show off their baby at every occasion. Yeah, but she's beautiful though. Yeah. Now I want to talk about family because it's been something I've kind of been thinking about a lot recently, and I've kind of missed this interaction of just like me and the camera and talking. I used to do it a lot, don't do it as much anymore, and I guess there's a nice kind of therapy behind it because you don't have no choice but to listen. But you kind of do have a choice because you can just click pause. I've been thinking about family. My little sister called me. She's called me 5 times in the past week, and every time she's called me, I've had to call her back later in the evening. Sometimes I forget because I'm always busy, you know? And I think this concept of always being busy and making time for family, it's a bit of a mad dynamic, because ultimately when you start a lot of this shit, everything you do, you're always like, I want to do it to make my mum proud, I want to do it to make this person proud, I want to do it for this person. And then you get to a certain point where, in a way, you don't even value those people to the same extent because what you're trying to do overrides them. And I'm fortunate enough that I have my family around me, do you get what I'm saying? I'm fortunate that I grew up around my family and I've had them as support sometimes. But yeah, I just thinking back to like, what's it called? When it was my wedding. When it was my wedding, one of my grandmas, listen, it's weird because it's not my dad's mum or my mum's mum or any of those things, but we're African, so everyone that's older to a certain extent is just one of my grandmas. And she didn't come to my wedding because I'd asked her through her sister, my other grandma, to invite her. And she was like, you know, African tradition, he's supposed to come and ask me himself. And I was kind of not caught up, but I was kind of like, you know what, that's long. Like, you know, why is she being long about it? So she didn't come to the wedding. And last time I saw her, it was in a hospital. She was unresponsive, she was breathing, so she couldn't respond and she couldn't breathe properly. And I remember going down the stairs and I get a call from my grandma like half an hour later, and she was like, yes, the other one, she's passed away, she's gone. And I feel like that aspect of valuing family, we kind of neglect it in a way, or maybe I neglect it. It's mad. Maybe it stems back to, like, for me, my dad is like, he's always been ambitious. He's always been like one of my heroes. He started all that philosophy shit in my life. Like, he used to sit me in front of the TV when I was young and teach me philosophy. And he's always had this ambition to be a millionaire. And he will be one day, God willing, you know. He's always got crazy ideas. But in pursuit of that ambition, he spent so much time away. And it's like, my little sister always says it, like, those years that are gone, you never get them back. I don't know. You kind of internalize and you never really take into consideration, because the family's there, you think they're always going to be there. And the more you grow, I guess, by yourself and individually, the more you forget about these people. You know, when my mum's away, I'm always like, oh, you know, I miss her. Then when she's here, all of a sudden we're complaining about the littlest things she does. So, yeah, family, interesting. I just wanted to share what I've been thinking. I don't have an answer or conclusion to any of the things. I just think it's good things to think about. Like I said, I'm not trying to give people answers to their life. I'm not that interested in doing that, but I'm interested in just exploring things that I think, and maybe you guys have answers for me, or maybe it was just cool to say something to someone. Even on the subject, it's interesting because, you know, when you're, like, we had a show in Birmingham the other day, thank you everyone that came out, and it's like all my boys came out, they came to support me, you know, and in a way they've kind of become a family as well, because they do all these things without me, like, they're just because they believe in what I do. And at the end of the day, it's like, how do you value that relationship? You know what I mean? How do you prioritize, how do you give back to that relationship? So I think that's the real question, like, how do you really give back to those people who have become your quote unquote family. Yeah, I think that was the conclusion. But shout out to everyone that's been supporting on the tour and at the shows and all that stuff. Till next time, safe.